So my brothers, inshallah, I just want to maybe just share just a few things that come to mind. This is not like a prepared talk, but heck, yani, especially because I see a lot of younger brothers, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them. I guess let me say that I'm speaking general. I can't cover every aspect of this topic. I'm generalizing. I know in any subject there's always specifics and there's always exceptions. So please don't come to me after and tell me, but brother, I have an exceptional case. We understand, so I'm mentioning this now. I know there's exceptional cases, but what I'm going to say to you now is I'm generalizing. And what I want to say to you, my brothers, is that in Islam, we know the value of the mother and the father. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned their ranks and He's raised them in the Quran, and He's ordered the believers to be kind and dutiful. And I'm going to also mention, because I know what's going to happen, to brother, you spoke about the father, and what about the mother? Wallah, you can't win. Again, the mother definitely has her rank, and Jannah is at the footsteps of your mom. And yes, in the hadith, when the man came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says to my Prophet of Allah, who is most deserving? Who is most deserving of my kind treatment? So he sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says from your mother. He says then who? He says from your mother. He says then who? He says from your mother. 3 times. He says and then who? He says then your father. This is about kind treatment, about showing love. So yes, we know the ranks. We know the ranks of the mother. I'm not taking anything away from this. But what I wanted to specifically mention is your father and the value of your father. I'm gonna do my best to keep my emotions in check. I will do my best, but no promises. There's the birrul walidain and the orders of Allah. That's number 1. But really what I want to mention to you is, my brothers, no one on this earth will love you and care for you more than your father. No one. Please brothers, no one to be recording, inshallah. No one take photos. Please put your phone down. No one on this earth will love you and care for you and have a burn in his heart for you more than your father. Again, don't come to me later with exceptions, and there's always exceptions. There's always, Ya Latif, very bad fathers, but I'm speaking general. And it's important that you know that your father is the most valuable person in your life. Irrespective of who he is, with all of his flaws and all of his mistakes, he is your father. And I don't know what else to say. How do I say it in a way where, brother, you know your father, he owns you. And some brothers, sometimes they come to me and they mention, and it's like, I try to be nice to them because I don't want to break their hearts. But really, in my message today, I feel like I can't afford to tippy toe, because I don't want the message to be distorted in any way, Let me tell you, as they say in Lebanese, brother, let me shoot you straight. Your father, he owns you. You know what he owns you means? He owns you. He owns your clothes. He owns your shoes. He owns your money. Your money? If your father, if I'm not encouraging fathers, I'm just giving you, if your father took every single dollar you own, you have nothing in front of Allah. You have nothing in the Islamic courtroom. You have nothing, because he owns you. He owns your wealth. He owns your clothes. He owns everything about you. He owns you. That's your dad. And don't ever think in your life that any man on this earth will ever love you and care for you and want goodness for you more than your father. Impossible. I'll challenge anyone. My young brother, your father, wallah, the kaf, You know, if your father slapped you with all his heart, the cuff from your father is more beloved, should be more beloved and dearer to you than 1,000 hugs from the boys on the street, from 1,000 hugs from your wife, from 1,000 hugs from your children, because that cuff that comes from your dad, you know exactly where it came from. Whereas those hugs on the streets, and those hugs that come from your wife, and those hugs that come from wallah, you don't know what price you're going to pay behind those hugs and those smiles. But whereas with your dad, you know exactly that when he whacked me, as much as it hurts, you know it came from the core of his heart for your goodness only. Our fathers are deeply flawed. No one is perfect. Sometimes your understanding of deen is 10 times better than his. But he's your dad and he owns you. Wallah, the shoe that your father wears, you know, the shoe that he wears, you should put it and wear it on your head like a crown. Not because of the value of the shoe, may Allah raise you all in ranks, but of the value of the one that wears it. It's your dad. And it is unbelievably selfish that a young man comes and says to me, but why can't I do what I want? Wallah, brother, I got news for you. You, my brother, and you, my sister, you didn't fall from the sky. Someone bled and cried and broke their backs to watch you grow and become a young man. You're owed, and you're in debt. So don't come to me now because mashallah, you know, I'm in my teens and you know, I've got my own thoughts and you know, I see things differently to my father, that now there's this, you know, that there's this resistance towards my dad and you know what, wallah brother, you know, I'm free. People told me I'm free. Brother, who's free? The biggest lie that is running around now is this concept of freedom. That wallah brother, I'm free. That I'm free to do what I want. That I'm free to say what I want. That I'm free. Brother, what? I'm going to try and control myself, you know. Where does this come from? Where? Even putting deen aside, who on this earth is free? Every single one of us is governed one way or another. You're governed, you're controlled, you're owned. You didn't fall from the sky, my brother and my sister, right? And now for you to just tell me, well, wallah brother, you know what, I fell in love with this girl and you know, I don't understand why my father doesn't like her, and you know, it's brother, it's not for your dad to understand. Again, I'm generalizing here, so don't come to me with your, you know, exceptions. My young sister, your dad, whether you like him or not, he talks to you, he engages with you or not, you should only ever marry the person that your father says to you, him, take him.